Hey guys! First of all, I want to say that I am so sorry for my wet hair. It is pretty early in the morning and I kind of just took a shower and I was like, you know what? I'm going to film a February wrap up because I read so many amazing books in February and I just want to talk about them. The first book of February that I read was Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo, and I absolutely loved this, and I also just love Elizabeth's writing in general. I believe this is her second novel. Basically what makes Elizabeth's writing style so unique is the fact that she writes entire novels in prose form, so she does not have like traditional chapters, and she just accurately and beautifully creates these plots and storylines and characters all with little words. And the fact that she could even in this novel show so much character development with so little space is just mind-blowing. If you're a pretty like heavy reader, it's nice to read something like this in just like one sitting and like a few hours, and it's very light and easy yet so impactful. This book follows two young girls that are currently in high school, and one lives in New York City and the other lives in the Dominican Republic. There is basically a clash in between their lives, and they come together because they realize their father lived a double life. He dies on American Airlines flight 587, and that is basically the entire like tragedy that the story is based off of. Acevedo manages to bring these two worlds together so seamlessly, and it's so brilliant and it's so beautiful to read. Two different perspectives of a traumatizing event and how they kind of come together to face this trauma and rebuild themselves, and it's just an amazing read. The next book that I read is actually in a video that I just did on my channel a week ago, and so the next 4 books that I'm going to introduce are in that video, so if you want to hear more about them, please check out that video. The link will be down below. But the next book that I read in February was The Sky is Everywhere by Jandy Nelson. I really enjoyed this book, but it wasn't my favorite. It was very witty and comical, and I really appreciated that. This is just a young adult novel, and it follows the life of this girl whose sister dies so suddenly, and she doesn't really know how to navigate this event, and she is kind of torn between these two boys. One makes her forget her life with her sister and she can easily overcome the past, but the other boy that she begins to have feelings for kind of keeps her stuck in the past, and she has a harder time letting go and moving on. She's kind of stuck between these two boys. It's like a really funny, light, witty, kind of humorous romance novel, and this is a great young adult novel, but as someone who is currently 22, this is not something that I would just pick up or gravitate toward, and I would give it like 3 out of 5 stars just because the writing style again isn't really for me as an adult, but this is a great funny young adult novel, and I would definitely recommend if you like stuff like this. The next book that I read was Girl with the Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier, and this book was so hard to get through, not even gonna lie. This is probably my least favorite read of February. I had such a hard time trying to finish this book. It was just so painful for me. My major problem with this book is that the climax of the story kind of plateaued, and it just wasn't really thrilling for me to read. This book basically follows this young girl right here who is in the painting, but this book I just did not like, and it was so upsetting to me because I've never read anything like this. My main issue with this novel was the dialogue. I felt like the dialogue really took me out of the story, and I felt like the overall conflict in this story was not that great, and whenever the conflict did reach its climax, it kind of just plateaued, and there were a ton of smaller conflicts within this story, and I thought that the author was going to take those farther than she actually did. So I felt like the smaller conflicts throughout the story would kind of like reach a peak and then like disappear. Like they didn't really remain in the plot too long, so I just had a lot of issues with this book. The last book that I read for my previous video was The Book Thief, and this book, you guys. If you watched my last video, you know how much I freaking love this book. This was an easy 5 out of 5 stars. I just could not put this down, but I also did not want to finish it because it was so good, because I knew once I finished this book, I wouldn't ever be able to read this book again for the first time. But this book was just heartbreaking, but also made me smile so big throughout because of how lovable the characters were. I became so emotionally attached to these characters, and the ending I just loved it. And this book was so unique because it's narrated by death, and that concept alone is just so amazing and so beautiful. And there were so many quotes throughout this novel that I had to highlight because I just love them so much, and the writing style is so elegant, so impactful, so beautiful, and I just overall loved this. And I have yet to see the movie, so I'm very excited to eventually sit down and watch the movie because I love watching movies after reading a book that the movie is based on, but we all know the books are better. So the next book that I read was Girl in Translation by Jean Walk. I do not know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, so I'm very sorry. But this book, also a great read. This book follows the life of a mother and daughter who recently moved to New York City, and they moved from Hong Kong to America in hopes of a better life, but neither of them know any English. The daughter is having a hard time navigating her school life, and then at night they both work at a family-run sweatshop. So it really depicts the overall life of sweatshop workers and the pain and torment and just unethical activity that they go through, while also highlighting poverty in America, especially for people who come to America who are immigrants. And overall, this book taught me so much stuff, and also the plot and the characters were amazing. And I believe that this is actually loosely based on the author's real life events of when she came to America from Hong Kong. And there's also a little bit of romance in here, but this book was so good and I loved reading this, and I could not put this down. I just overall love books like this that are loosely based off of someone's personal experiences that are also fictional yet can teach me so much stuff about life and other people's experiences. This was a 5 out of 5 for me. Let's talk about the really embarrassing thing that happened to me in regards to this book and Jean Walk. So I posted a photo of this book on my Bookstagram account one morning as I was working, and I just had it on my desk. It all looked really cute, you know. I had to take a photo of it, post it on my Bookstagram account, and my caption said something along the lines of, I just finished a book and the ending left me really disappointed, so I cannot wait to read this book. And the book that I was talking about in my caption was in regards to this book because this ending really disappointed me. But Jean Walk, the author of this book, slid into my DMs and basically spoiled the entire ending for me because she thought that I was talking about how the ending of this book disappointed me. So she sent me an entire paragraph explaining why she chose the ending that she did, and I was so upset because not only did this author think I was bashing her work, but she also just spoiled the entire ending of this novel for me. So that would happen to me. I don't know why things like that happen to me, but I felt so bad and I could not stop apologizing to her in my DMs, and that was just a mess. The next book that I read was Today, Tonight, and Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solom. And let me just say, this book was super cute, super sweet, and I read it because I actually thrifted it. And this book is based in Seattle. It's like enemies to lovers, and sometimes I like that trope if it's done well, and I think this is definitely done well. But it's basically about these two high school rivals, and they have been competing since freshman year for top of the class for valedictorian. At the end of the school year, all of the seniors play this game. I believe that in the book it's called Howl. You get targets and you have to eliminate those targets, but the enemy and the lover in this book kind of get paired together because the entire class class is turning on them and trying to get them out, so they have to work together around the city. And I just thought this was so cute, and I really loved this. This was a really light, fun, little like fluffy read, and I would give this maybe like a 3 out of 5 stars. The next book that I read was Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. I had this on my TBR shelf for such a long time because this book was on a syllabus for a class that I had, I think my junior year of college, and my teacher actually took it off the syllabus because we were reading so many other novels at the time that we didn't have time to finish this. But this is a graphic novel, and I don't read too many graphic novels, so this was really nice to read. And it kind of is a memoir about Allison and her life growing up with her father, who has a dark secret that eventually comes out as she's older. And after the death of her father, it just shows like how she navigates life and how she comes out and also navigates like the LGBTQIA community. And there's so many important themes throughout this graphic novel, and I really recommend it. I did overall really love this, and she is from Pennsylvania, which is where I live. So that was really interesting when she was pointing out like the houses she used to live and where she grew up at, and I was like, oh, I know where that is. Overall, I really did like this book, and I recommend, and I believe it is a musical actually. I think. Yeah, it's a Broadway musical. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for supporting me. It means so much to me as a small YouTuber. Whenever I see someone just subscribe to my channel, I get so excited. I'm like, oh my goodness, like how cool is that? But if you're not subscribed and you like my content, please hit the subscribe button below. It would mean so much to me. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye!